Hi, I'm Paul. I'm going to show you how to change guitar strings. Why? Because I'm going to. Because I needed to change the strings on my guitar, and I'm making YouTube videos these days. So, might as well do both at once. And maybe talk about music while we do that. So, I like my microphone setup. Hopefully it works okay. I'm just using these things. Okay, so if you want to change the strings on a guitar, you need a couple of things. First thing you need is a guitar, with or without strings. You don't need to have strings on the guitar. Well, if you want to change the strings, I guess you do. If you want to apply new strings, you don't necessarily need to have strings on the guitar. This guitar happens to have strings on it, and you can tell they're getting a little old. You can see the discoloration there, a little rusty. These strings have probably been on here for, I don't know, 5-6 years, something. It's been sitting unplayed for a while. But okay, so that's the first piece of equipment you need. Second thing is new strings. If you want to put new strings on, you gotta have strings to put on. And then you need, well, you don't need this. This could be useful. These are some needle nose pliers. They've got a wire cutter function in there. I stuck my finger in there. If I closed it, that would have hurt, but I didn't close it. So these to cut off the excess part of the strings. You could also use them to cut right through and pop the strings right off that way. I don't do that. I don't recommend that because I think a sudden release tension on the strings might not be good, but you could do it. So I won't do it that way. And then this was something I saw recently that may be useful, to wrap something around the strings before you remove them. Depending on how your bridge setup is, you may or may not be able to do this. But on this I can. It's got pins, so these pins will come out. That's another reason why the needle nose pliers will be useful. If the pins are stuck, I can't pull them out with my fingers. I can use the pliers. That isn't great. These are made out of wood, and they're all chewed up. But they were chewed up before I got this guitar, which is a Fender Catalina. I guess they don't make them anymore. It's backwards because I have the screen facing me with the camera. But it's a nice guitar. I think it's from the early 90s. They haven't made them since then. I got it used. It was on the side of the road. It was sitting in this case. The case itself was probably like a $90 case, brand new, and I paid $150 for the guitar in the case. Quite a good deal. That was a long time ago. And so it's already, I mean, it's got some dings and scratches on the body, stuff like that. It's a played guitar, so I don't worry about that anymore. I don't care. I like the sound of it, and putting some marks on the bridge pins isn't going to affect that. So the crack in the neck, that will affect it eventually, but it isn't yet. So we're cool. So all right, yeah. So those are the components you need. So first thing, I'm going to reduce the tension on the strings by turning the tuning pegs. Now, if you have never done, oh come on, if you've never changed strings on a guitar before, then this is how it's done. If you have, then this is useless for you. Then but it's like we're just sitting here talking. So I just reduced the tension on the strings. You don't need to play the string. You can just turn the knob. Sorry for hitting the microphone. I'm just doing that so you see the change as you're reducing the tension, detuning the guitar. This isn't a very exciting how-to video, but not everything needs to be exciting these days. Let's talk philosophy. Does everything need to be exciting? I think we're overly stimulated in a lot of our lives, a lot of aspects of our lives, individual life. So you don't really need to be overstimulated in changing strings on a guitar. But all right, so you loosen them up. You're gonna have to go all the way down. I mean, you could, at this point, I could cut them, but I'm gonna try this thing out where I wrap this twist tie around it. It really serves no purpose, but I'm doing it because I saw it on a thing. I'm doing it. It'll keep them somewhat together as I remove them from the guitar and throw them in the trash, because that's where they're going. I guess there's probably somewhere you could recycle these things, but I've just always thrown them away. So try and loosen it up and up off the peg where it'll then slide out the thing. I guess I could show you that. If I'm doing a how-to, I might as well show you the whole process here. Let's put this here like this, and then, so twisting, 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 going the wrong way. So eventually it'll loosen up enough where I can just slip it over the tuning peg and then slide it out from the tuning peg like that, and it's gone. Alright, so I'll keep going. I put these on backwards. Feels like they're backwards. I feel like I'm tightening this up now. I am. I'm not good at this. There are devices you can get that will spin these things faster. There's some little ratchet type thing. It fits over. It's a little wrench, and you can just spin around real fast. I've never invested in one of those. Don't know that it's necessary, but go a little faster. I've also saw them as drilled chucks you can attach to. I guess chuck isn't the right word, but you can attach it to a drill. Maybe it is the right word, I don't know. For some reason I thought that was part of the name. But you can fit them on there, and then you can just put a power drill on here and zip that right around. I'd be afraid of doing damage to the thing. Am I putting this the right way? Why is this so difficult? This doesn't even look like it's spinning. Okay, there it goes. See the hole in my sleeve? I've had this sweatshirt for a long time. It's a band sweatshirt. We Shot the Moon. If you've never heard of them, I recommend them. My ear itched. Go on to the Spotify. I'm pretty sure they're on there. And you can look them up. It might be on YouTube. I haven't looked. But I don't know if they're still playing anymore. When I was at college in Idaho, they came to town a lot. I think I saw them like 7 or 8 times over the course of 3 years. So they played there quite a bit. Okay, so now I'm taking these bridge pins out. The pin slides right over top of the end of the guitar string, which has this little, I don't know if this thing autofocuses. I don't have a fancy camera, but everybody on YouTube, whenever they show something close up, they put their hand behind it to try and focus it. This isn't going to do that. This is just an iPad I'm recording on. But there's a little eye hole, eye ring, what do they call it? I don't know. It's a circle piece of metal. Looks like a yo-yo. So you have a little circle piece of yo-yo, the string wrapped around that. That just fits down in the hole of the bridge, and then this pin has got a groove as that lines up with the string, and you push it down in there, holds it in place. And so taking it out, it's the opposite. It's like you're pulling teeth. And I don't know that you need to have the pins back in the same place you got them from. I imagine on some higher quality guitars they're probably color coded or somehow marked to fit into the same spots, but on this guitar they are not. And if they were, then I messed that up a long time ago, because I just put them in wherever. So now you got all your strings zip tied up together, and again, you really don't need to zip tie them because that's pretty easy to control. I don't know why I thought that would even be useful, but I tried it out, and apparently it's completely unnecessary. So right now I'm going to take the zip tie back off, because that would probably serve me more use in the future, wrapping up wires or cables or something, rather than these. This is typically what I do with them. Get them all off, tie them in a knot, throw it in the trash. So that's that. I don't know if I was thinking I wanted to get a little metal foundry and start melting down metal, because for some reason that just speaks to me on some primal level. I think that's cool. If I did that, I could melt these down. I don't know what these are. I think these are I use bronze coated strings, but I guess they're steel core bronze. Maybe the little strings are steel. It's just steel with some kind of bronze coating on them, but probably wouldn't be useful to do anything with. I don't know. So that's that. Now I have a worthless guitar. Nothing. This is where you can reach inside and get all the picks that are stuck in there if that happens, if you can't just shake them out. So I have no picks in there at the moment. Here's my bridge pins. So now let's put the strings back on, or the new strings on. To do that, you open the cardboard box. I know, I'm not just joking. I'm not trying to be condescending or whatever. Okay, so these are 13s. No, they're 11. What? I said 13 at the top. What is this? EXP13 custom light, whatever that means. It's a 0.011 to 0.052, and they are color coded. And on the bag, most strings, these are the ones I get. These are D'Addario's, but most strings will have some kind of color coding if you can't just tell by the size of them. If you're brand new to the guitar, then you probably can't tell by the size of them. So I'm looking for. I don't know if there's an order to do this in. There probably is. some recommended best practice, but I just put them on here. So I've got the brass colored circle is the E string at the top. Now's a good time to dust off your guitar as well. You got no strings on there. I'm just gonna wipe it off up on the head and down by the bridge if you're into that kind of thing. So like I said, take that knob thing on the end and then the pin, and then put the thing in the thing, and then push the other thing in the thing. You're good to go. And the saddle fell out while I was messing around with this thing. Great. Where'd it go? Did you see? I didn't see where. Oh, here it is. Sorry, I hit the microphone again. This is the saddle. I think that's what it's called. And this sits in this groove on the bridge, and it fell out because the strings were holding it in place. So it's fine. It just goes right back in there. And I think at some point somebody played this without having that in place because there's some significant grooves cut into the wood. Maybe they tried to make the action lower. I don't know. I'm not sure which way this was going in. I think it goes like that. It is tapered, so we'll see if it plays differently if I got it wrong. Alright, so then you just run the string up and in the nut, which is this white piece at the beginning of the fretboard, or the end of the fretboard, I guess depending on how you go. I call it the beginning. It looks cracked. That's bad news. So there's little saddles in that, or little grooves that you can put the string into. So typically I'll wrap it once or twice. I don't know. I think there are recommendations on this, but just do whatever's functional. With this E string, because it's thicker, I'm going to wrap it around once and then feed it through the post hole. Do you need to see this up close? Too bad. I'm not that kind of tutorial here. Oh, come on. And I'm not that skilled at this. I'm skilled. It just, I mean, it takes, I don't know what it takes. Apparently it takes a lot of concentration to do this. I didn't think it was going to be that serious of a routine or endeavor. Okay, because you get that string in there and it slides back out. See, this is what you get with me. I'm to show you, talk about the real frustrations of it. Not one of these things where some guy just hides all these things, does it perfectly, and then you're trying it and keep messing it up, and you think, what's wrong with me? I can't do it. None of us can do it. I'm just not taking the time to make a polished presentation. Oh, how do I do that? That looks all goofy. Where's that thing going? Whatever. Get the string on there. Slide it in there. Alright, so that is really poorly done. But that's okay. So I'm going to start tightening it up. And then as I tighten it, it's going to respond, I think. It'll pull itself in, is what I'm trying to say. So you wrap it around once, feed it through the hole in the post, and then it's really stuck on itself. Just like me. Just kidding. I'm not stuck on myself. Alright, but now should be so it's loose on there. It's not really great. But as I wind the peg, it will tighten up. But this is not good. What do I do with this thing? Put that through the wrong way. It's wrapped around itself in a way I don't like. So I'll break this guitar. Well, you saw it here. If I do, it's fine. It's already broken. The neck's got a crack in it, but it still plays. Alright. Got that fixed. Okay, so now I'm going to tighten this up a bunch of times. Still don't like the way it is, but hopefully it tightens itself on there. Alright. So I'll tighten it a little bit so it pulls tight on there, but I'm not trying to tighten the whole thing. Now at this point, you can cut off the excess. Usually I'd put them all on there before I do, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut it off now just to get that done. Okay, so that's got one string on there, and I'm going to keep putting the other strings on and keep recording me doing it. So now I'm going for the A string, the 5th string. That one has a red knob on it. Get my next peg from the bridge. Feed that thing down in there. Right across the saddle. Do the nut. Wrap it around the peg. Go around once. This one's also thick enough. It'll tighten around there a couple more coils. So I don't wrap it around too many times myself. So I wrap it around and I try, when I feed it through the hole, I feed it over top of the string. That's why I messed up on the first one. Oh, I did it again. What is that? Oh, okay, all right. So I'm not getting it properly over the thing. Let me see if I can show you this. I don't know if it'll show up enough or not. Yeah, kind of. So you see how this, well, you can't see it. So this part of it that I'm pulling out here is over top of the string, but I fed it back underneath the string, so I'm wrapping around it, and I don't want that, so I want it to be completely over it. So I gotta take that back out. I've been playing guitar since 1999. It is now 2020. I can't tell you how many times I've strung a guitar up, and I don't know that I've ever had so much trouble with stringing a guitar before. That's what I get for putting it on video. Whatever. I don't care. Alright. So that's good. Enough for me. It's like the Goonies. Oh, good enough for me. Alright. So, let's cut off the excess. I should have played the guitar for you before I changed the strings so you could hear the difference. All the strings fell on the floor. Okay. Who's next? Looks like black, the D string, the 4th string. Alright. Should have played it so you can hear the difference of old and new strings. I guess you still could. I used this to record. I did a cover of 21 Days by Blink-182. I posted earlier this week. That was the last video I posted before this one. I'll put it on as the end card thing on this video, and you'll be able to hear this guitar with the old strings on it, which it was fine. But I don't know. I guess I think there's a noticeable difference when you put new strings on in sound. For me, it's more about the feel. I don't like the way the strings feel. They start to get a little rusty and whatever. So for me, I'm doing this mostly for feel, playing ability, whatnot. Alright, so this one has this little piece here is a I don't know what you would call that, a fastener, screws on, and this string slides underneath it and just keeps the tension. Something keeps the string slower, because otherwise, with the further they go, they'd be up off the head. I don't know if it's primarily functional or cosmetic, but it is. It just is, and I accept that it is, and I'm grateful that it is. I'm trying to express more gratitude right now. That's something I'm doing. And okay, so I'm grateful for guitars, grateful for music, grateful for that little thing that keeps the string where it is, no matter why it's there. Okay, next string is the G. It is a green head on it. Put the pin in the thing, across the stuff, through the thing, around the other thing, and then through the thing. It goes through and around a lot of things on here. Alright, let's get that over that part, but under that, right, over both parts. I feel like if I go over the string, it helps hold it down on the peg so it doesn't slide off. Not that I've ever had a string slide off the top of the peg, but maybe because I do it that way, so it doesn't. I don't know. Alright. How long is it? 18 minutes? Oh my gosh. I didn't think it would take that long to change some strings. Jeez. What's going on? Man, you're a trooper. Alright, well, you know what? You didn't have to watch all this, because after the first string, you kind of have the idea. But like I said, this isn't really a... Did I say it? This isn't really a how-to video. I don't know if I said it. Maybe I thought it. There's more about me making a video and talking at you. It's kind of like a vlog. Maybe I'll call it a vlog episode. How to change guitar strings with Paul Brody. A vlog. I feel like I didn't give you any value of either, though. I'm too slow at showing you how to change strings, and I didn't really talk about anything worth listening to. So, well, maybe I'll talk more about gratitude then. I just recorded a podcast episode. I'm a drug and alcohol counselor. That's my day job, because I'm not ready to quit that yet, according to everybody that's ever heard me play music. Just kidding. I think they all think it, they just don't say it, but it's okay. I know it's true. I'm not ready to quit my day job. I like my day job, so I'm not going to quit it anyway. But I'm a counselor, and I'm doing a podcast called Stop Recovering, Start Living. It's my motto. If we focus on recovering from addiction, pins slide down to the bridge. That's not a good thing. I don't want that to happen. If you focus on recovering, you're not focusing on living. And I think you need to focus on living. Because whatever we put our attention to is what we end up doing. Our thoughts, our energy, thoughts become our actions. No, our thoughts become our choices. Our choices identify our actions. And then our actions or behaviors become our personality. And our personality defines our personal reality. That's a Joe Dispenza quote. Paraphrased, but it was Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza is a good guy to quote. He's, some good things. So, doing a podcast on that, and today I was just recording one earlier. I was talking about gratitude. Gratitude has a lot of beneficial effects on the brain, apparently. A lot of things that help to alleviate depression and anxiety, bring about happiness, fulfillment, goal attainment, motivation, enthusiasm, improved health, sleep, eating. All these things can be adjusted through gratitude, which regulates the brain functions. So if you're dealing with an addiction, increasing your gratitude, expressions of gratitude and perspective of gratitude can be beneficial in overcoming addiction behaviors. If you're interested in learning more about that, go to Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. Apple's got it, Spotify's got it. Anchor.fm/Paul-Brody is the host site, and they distribute it everywhere. So if you just go to Spotify and type in Stop Recovering, Start Living, that's where the podcast is. So you can check it out that way if you're curious about where the rest of that conversation goes. So that's it. This guitar has new strings on it. Perfect. So now it's a matter of tuning. And I have an electric tuner that I will use, but it's going to take a minute. Depending on how much you twist it around and how tight you get it on the knob before you start tuning it. Like this just loosened up a whole lot. It's because it slid into place up here, better tensioned on the knob, and it released tension down here. So that's why you don't want to wrap it around too much, because you end up wrapping it around several times in this process. Now it's crazy up there. There's a song, one of my songs that I kind of use as my tuning by ear thing. If I can get to sound like the first note of that song, first chord of that song, and then I got the E. I'm not good at that though by ear. So that doesn't sound good. That sounds pretty good. But so the point, or what I was going to say was that as you tune, you don't have to tune it 100% right through. You want to go through and tune them all up, get them all tighter, and then you make a couple passes through. The first time you do actually tune it to the string, which maybe I went too soon on that, by the time you get to the bottom, that's going to be detuned a little bit because it's creating tension on the whole neck. And so you just go through, it'll take a couple phases to really get them all in tune, the fine tuning for each string. And then as you play it, I find it over maybe a couple of hours, an hour, 2 hours of playing it, and then the strings are usually pretty relaxed and stretched to where they're going to be, and then it'll hold tune better. But maybe not even that long of playing it. But initially, you will need to tune it a little bit more frequently when you're playing, because the strings will continue to stretch a little bit into place. And so I recommend for tuning, getting any app, anything. There's a whole bunch of tuners you can just plug in, or you just like on your iPad, on the phone, you play, especially with acoustics, it picks it up really easy. But even with electric guitars, it'll pick it up, just the sound. You don't have to have it plugged in. But you hit the string on the screen, it'll show you a little needle or arrow or something, and tell you when you're in tune, tell you the note you're tuning to, the E, A, D, G, B, E, and you just tune it to that, and then go right down. So that's how I recommend doing it. Or you can play another instrument if you have another guitar that's tuned, or a piano or something like that. But I find it's difficult to tune by ear. And then once you get to E in tune, then you can tune them all to that. So that structure is from the top E string here. It's E5 is an A note, and the second string is an A string. So E5 and A open are going to be the same. And then that continues down. A5 is D open, D5 is G open, and then it goes to G4 is B open, B5 is E open. So you can tune your guitar that way once you get the first string in place. That's where I can get pretty close by playing that little riff from one of my songs. That for some reason that's the one I recognize that's what a C is supposed to sound like. That's not, but when it is a C, when I can get it to the right place, and that's what it sounds like, because I can tune the rest of it off of there. But just go with an electric tuner. They're so much easier. I got one that clips onto the head of the guitar and tunes it that way, or you can tune it that way. Back when we used to play shows, I always had my Rob would. He was a bass player with us for a while, and then Nate, the drummer, you know Nate, he's still around. One of those guys would often try to fine-tune my guitar for me, and I don't care. I guess I don't hear things very well. So that's it. That's how you tune. That's how you change the strings on the guitar, and whatever else I talked about. But go check out We Shot the Moon. I don't know if they're still around. I should look them up, but they had some good songs back in the day, and I really liked them. So 25 minutes. That's how long it takes to change strings on a guitar if you're rambling and talking about whatever. I'm going to crawl out of the sofa now and turn this thing off, and because the microphones are in the way. So I'm going to do some songs this weekend, and probably maybe I'll do another vlog, a real vlog, one that I would consider real. This I didn't consider real. This was just something to do. So long.